Hello, this presentation is going to discuss the psychological effects that anabolic steroid use has on individuals that abuse them and whether these effects were positive or negative. Anabolic steroids are a synthetic steroid hormone that resemble testosterone and are commonly used to promote rapid muscle growth. In recent times, this drug has been manipulated by athletes and non-athletes alike for gaining athletic advantage in sporting environments as well as for body image reasons. Their use in sporting environments is illegal and results in dire consequences for athletes that abuse them. However, anabolic steroids do have medicinal purposes as well. Anabolic steroid use by high school and college students in the past has been substantial, and there have been obvious physical effects that have resulted from this steroid abuse. Physical impacts such as cardiovascular problems are detrimental to the individual's health and well-being. However, there are substantial positive and negative psychological effects of anabolic steroid use as well. There are various psychological effects that result from the abuse of anabolic steroids, and one of these effects is perceived self-confidence. Research conducted by Basalo and Ulrich examined the psychological effects that taking anabolic steroids has on college athletes. The group of 39 men were interviewed and asked to describe the feelings that they received from taking anabolic steroids. Basalo and Ulrich found that 37 of the 39 men interviewed had significantly similar explanations of their psychological state after using the drug. 37 of the 39 men described drastic increases in self-confidence resulting from the athletic advantage that they received from taking the drugs. The participants often described themselves as feeling superior to others and extremely satisfied with the psychological state that the anabolic steroids afforded them. Only two of the participants had different views on the psychological effects of steroids and described that their feelings were neutral. This type of psychological effect is a positive as it granted the participants elevated levels of self-confidence, which they perceived as a benefit to their well-being. However, Vassallo and Ulrich also examined the link between increased self-confidence and anabolic steroid dependency. The same participants that explained their dramatic increases in self-confidence were also interviewed on the topic of whether they felt they would develop a psychological dependency to the use of anabolic steroids. Vassallo and Ulrich observed a similar response from all the participants. The participants confirmed that they had experiences of withdrawal and expressed a need to continue taking the steroids. The need that was expressed was confirmed by the participants to be a psychological need rather than a physical need. This psychological need was described as a feeling of invincibility, which many of the participants described as a mental edge. The mental edge that the participants described was the major contributing factor expressed and was linked to the psychological addiction to the anabolic steroids. The vast majority of the participants explained the experience gained from continuous anabolic steroid use as extremely influential and seductive in a psychological way. The physical benefits received were described as inferior to the psychological benefits. So whilst the positive psychological benefit of elevated levels of self-confidence was experienced, this also led to psychological dependence on the steroids. Recent studies contained in the Journal of Psychosomatic Research examined the physical and psychological impacts that the use and abuse of anabolic steroids can have on individuals. A significant psychological effect of anabolic steroid use is increased amounts of aggression and decreased tolerance in unfavorable situations. Individuals that participate in the use of anabolic steroids often experience dramatic mood swings and become easily frustrated with little provocation. These episodes that are produced have been termed roid rages and are the result of the aggression that is coupled with anabolic steroid use. The psychological reaction is a negative one that can be harmful both to the individual and others around them. Other journal articles support these findings, such as the findings of Kurt Riem. Riem identified that the endogenous testosterone concentrations found in anabolic steroids are specifically linked to behaviors such as hostility and irritability. It was determined that these negative psychological effects were observed during situations in which the individuals became frustrated and aggressive easily. Riem subsequently found that the use of anabolic steroids is linked to psychological states of euphoria and positive well-being. The individuals observed explained the experiences associated with the use of steroids to be feelings of power and increased levels of confidence. Interestingly, Riem found that the individuals that consumed high dosages of the anabolic steroids exhibited the highest amounts of euphoria, whereas the lower dosages did not incur these same feelings. These psychological effects of anabolic steroid use are positive and, as stated previously, may be a contributing factor towards addiction. Research conducted by Skarberg and colleagues examined the similarities in psychological effects of individuals with eating disorders and those that use anabolic steroids. Findings revealed that some of the psychiatric responses associated with both types of individuals were very similar. These symptoms included anxiety, depression, interpersonal sensitivity, and obsessive-compulsive behavior. In particular, these effects were examined during withdrawal stages and indicate the issues that arise even after discontinuing the steroid use. The participants described experiences of dramatic mood swings both during and after the use of anabolic steroids. Some participants described extreme feelings of decreased self-worth and decreased self-confidence in withdrawal phases, and also becoming easily frustrated by everyday situations. These psychological effects are negative effects and are directly related to the use of anabolic steroids. In conclusion, anabolic steroid use has obvious physical effects on individuals that abuse these drugs. However, there are significant psychological effects that result as well. These psychological effects can be either positive or negative and include factors such as increased self-confidence, psychological addiction, aggression, euphoria, hostility, irritability, anxiety, depression, interpersonal sensitivity, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. It was determined that there are numerous negative psychological effects and minimal positive effects. Further research into the psychological effects of anabolic steroid use would be beneficial in determining why individuals continue to use anabolic steroids. Thank you.